like I went into South Florida, just the new guy in town, had no contacts. The next thing you know, I'm like, holy cow, I'm getting all sorts of deals. And like, little did I know it was because of COVID. I kind of just caught it right at the right time. So I didn't have to be honest, I stopped selling. You know, I got a little bit comfortable because it was very easy.
All right, so we're recording. We got another episode of Adversity Kings. We have the partner of the show, Dave Wang, and then we've got our special guest, Dave Redick. And Dave Redick is the owner of and CEO of Elite Yacht Services, founded January 12th, 2012. Celebrated 12 years of business just this past month. Congratulations. And I imagine you guys had your best year last year.
Yeah, it was a good year. Yeah, 2022 was the big, kind of through COVID, had a few really big years. Last year was a good year as well.
Yes. COVID, I hate to even
COVID
stop
was
I didn't even think with the boating, like, yeah, I guess you could be locked in, but a lot of people could probably get locked in on the boat, so you still need boat maintenance.
It's shot. Yeah, so like 2020 was, I first started, so I've been in business a decade plus. I kind of call it 2.0. We started in South Florida. That was like kind of kind of a whole different version of that went in with a whole different mindset. Already been around the business for a while. Started in South Florida as a newbie, didn't have any contacts, no business. So like I was kind of able to recreate ourselves down there. And it was right when COVID hit. So we kind of got luck. It was a lot of luck, but COVID pushed up boat sales, pushed up the whole world just went through the roof in terms of sales. So we went with that ride up in South Florida. So our first year was 2020, 2021 was huge, 2022 was huge. And then last year started to kind of, last year was a bit of a dip. The whole industry just dipped.
Yeah.
But it was because a lot of people started realizing, I bought a boat. Stuff's breaking down, the maintenance, the stuff they didn't realize that comes with
we go jet skiing and I get annoyed when we have to do work.
So
we dropped a nut off the battery and we spent a whole half day trying to I was like, oh God, dude. I couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine if something's 40, 50 times bigger than this jet ski, all the work that has to be done.
Oh yeah, because it's like we've had all day long. You got something pops up. Just one day you wake up, it's $100,000 just to throw at it, and people, you got to have either deep pockets or be able to have, in some cases you got warranty that covers a lot of that. But
where they say, BOAT is break out another 1,000.
Break out another 1,000.
I know it's funny. Even 1,000. It's funny now. Our own service company. It's kind of like it's 1,000. It's not a big deal anymore. 1,000.
Yeah.
Once you get hit a certain number, it's like okay.
Can we talk about his journey before he went to South Florida?
Yes. Yeah. Let's get into that. I wanted to announce a couple of things. You just celebrated a birthday in December?
Yes, 33.
33?
Actually, I think about that. Yeah,
Let's
33.
go. So you started this around 21?
Yeah, right at 21. First couple of years, I'd kind of been kicking it. I think I'd met Dave. I came out of high school, 21. So the whole journey started in high school. My senior year of high school, had some family stuff going on. Had my whole career has been very interesting. You meet different people throughout each stage, and so in this specific stage, I was in my senior year of high school. A guy, Rick, gave me a book by Bill Rancic called "You're Hired." I don't know the full story of why that was given to me. Why he thought it was a good book for me, but I read it, and that's where. In it, Bill Rancic was a local. He's done very well. I've gotten to know Bill a little bit.
He was the first
apprentice
celebrity.
for Trump.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. And so Bill worked. So back his story up, he used to clean boats in New Buffalo, where Dave's got a boat, and so he used to clean boats in the harbors back in I think it was the 80s or 90s. I don't know what decade he was doing it, but in his book "You're Hired," he talked about his journey washing boats, and kind of grew it. I don't know what he grew it to, but he started doing a little bit in Chicago. Had the New Buffalo going because there in the summers they would spend. He had a friend that had a house in New Buffalo. So that's how they started a cleaning company. And then he took it to the top, got successful, wrote the book. And then that book was given to me. I then was like, I was getting ready to go to college that year. It was 2009. Had been accepted somewhat. And I forgot, there was a stipulation of my acceptance into a college. And so I was getting ready to start college. And it was June of 2009, ended up just deciding to start a boat cleaning company. So at the time, I was still working for my brother. We had a power washing business. We used every night, 7 days a week, we're out there cleaning exhaust hoods. So I did that every night. McDonald's, Taco Bell's. We did like Luke's gas stations, just pulling down the hoods, grease chutes, power washing them.
I did that.
So that was kind of my little start. And then I started the boat business. I can't even say I started. It was just more very, very limited. Couple, made, I don't even know, 1,000, not very much first couple years. Really, 2012 is when we incorporated. That first year we did I think we did 54,000 in sales. I took, you know, my first year in business was $15,000 in profit. And, you know, I remember specifically because at that time I just started dating my wife at the time was my girlfriend. And I was like, kind of like, yeah, 54,000. And
So you guys just celebrated 10 years then too.
10 years. Yeah. Yep.
Congrats.
So it's been, so that was, yeah, it was kind of my little journey. And, you know, I don't want to get too deep into it, but anyways, just kept scaling. It was a cleaning company, strictly cleaning company in Chicago Harbors, New Buffalo. We did a little bit in Wisconsin. Used to travel, and it really would go anywhere in the Midwest just to get money. Wasn't always probably the smartest move financially to do some of these projects we took on, but from about 2012 to 2020 was just hardcore detail cleaning, wax, this, that. Anything in terms of detailing, that's what we focused on. And then right in about November 2019, you know, just to kind of make the story go quicker, there was a guy, Paul, that had a cleaning company, or had a management company in Chicago, had several clients. He wanted to get out of it. He was starting to get a little bit older, wanted to get out of the business. I was kind of like looking, at that point, I was a little bit frustrated with my career. It was cleaning. He was always in the boat world, the cleaning guys are kind of like, it's the cleaning, you know, they kind of treated that way a little bit. And so I always hated that stigma. And, you know, we had been successful. I was making six figures at that time. I made my first six figures at 24. So it was a successful business, but nonetheless, that whole stigma of, oh, it's the cleaning guy. Dave runs a cleaning company. And I just hated that. You know, so it was November 2019, had the opportunity to buy out this guy Paul's business. It was called Chicago Yacht One. Had several clients so he would manage their boats. That's where I didn't really even understand the terms of what management was up until then. So I bought out that book of business and then didn't really do much with that book of business because it was here in Chicago. It was wintertime. So didn't really do much. Spring of 2022, we started managing boats. Had no, you know, again, just kind of stumbled into it. Didn't really understand fully what that would look like. And anyways, around that same time is when we started tapping into the Florida market a little bit. And anyways, really for that about a year there, we just maintained a couple boats in Chicago, managing, checking, you know, some of the basic stuff. You'd schedule contractors, schedule yard periods, schedule maintenance. So it really wasn't super hands-on. It was a lot of contractor-based. And then fast forward into, what was it? I want to say April 2021. At that time, we had been full stream ahead in South Florida. We were marketing, doing tons of ads on Instagram. Anyways, a first client came to us, a guy named Lewis, gave us our first chance in management in South Florida. And we pretty much, I'm not going to go too deep into it, but again, we took that account in South Florida and now have magnified it within the last, less than just under 4 years, we've taken it to now we're managing 100-foot yachts and, you know, we're pretty well known within South Florida for what we do. And it's, it all started, the management program, what we do today, what we're kind of known for today, we call it our elite platinum management. It all started back from November 2019, buying that small management book of business, what kind of got our foot in the door. And since then, it's been a worldwide, it's been a whirlwind of fun, liability, all sorts of stuff that I've come to learn. There's a lot of good to it, and there's a lot of things that I had to learn on the go as well that weren't so good. So,
absolutely.
But that's where we're at today. Is we're now considered a yacht management company. Our main focus is crew. We handle like captains. Well, if you were to buy a yacht and you needed a captain or a crew, we provide that captain, the crew. We provide the maintenance. There's a lot of different things on a day-to-day basis that need to be overseen in terms of like service updates, repairs, whatever it is. We deal with that. And then we're still a cleaning company. Up until this day, we still have our own cleaning company in house, which is I think that alone is a big source of my income as well. Is we still a pretty strong cleaning company, detail company. Because now we've got a few dozen clients that we manage, but we've got 100+ clients on a yearly basis that we still detail for, do all sorts of different projects for. So
how long does it take to clean a 100-foot yacht?
A lot of that, like 2 or 3 weeks. Some of those projects are 2 to 3 weeks on a detail. But it's been fun. I enjoy it. And
you pull the whole thing out of water?
A lot. Sometimes we'll do it in water. Sometimes it's pulled out on land. So it's been fun.
What would you estimate? So I've always wanted to get like a 70, 75-foot Pershing. I like those things because it's speed and luxury. And let's give our audience just an estimate. How much would it cost to really maintain and run a boat like that on an annual basis?
On an annual basis. So like typically, that's what's funny is a lot of people, that's what happened in COVID. A lot of these guys were buying boats A lot of young money was coming in, tons of young money. We've dealt with all sorts of. I got kids that are. It's just interesting to me how it's kind of funny to see it because they come in hot, and then the first thing that goes wrong, they're like, "Whoa!" They're like, "Back that," they're kind of like. Not realizing what they got into, and because you've got dockage, on a minimum level, a 70-foot boat, you're probably around that $5,000 a month. You've got, if you're going to go with the full-time captain, you're looking at easily $100,000 for the captain. You've got, every time you move the boat, you need a second hand on there. You need a mate to move the boat. You've got insurance, which could be $50,000 to $80,000.
So that's 160. Now you're at
you've got
230.
yard period. You got yard period every year. You got to pull the boat out, spend tens of thousands on repairs. So you're probably anywhere from $300,000 to $500,000 all day long just to run that boat. And that doesn't include fuel. I mean, if you're running the boat up the East Coast, back down, like we've got a client right now in Pershing 9X.
Is it a write-off?
It's a lot of them will put it in their LLCs, in a business strategy. Most of these guys will put it into LLC. They'll flip it into they'll maybe let a client use it. We've got one client. He's always got, the client doesn't even use the boat. I don't think he's touched it
Charters
in a year. Doesn't charter, just lets his employees use the boat. Will let some of his best contractors use the boat. So then he can turn that into a write-off essentially. So. But yeah, you're looking at $300,000, $500,000 on a 70-foot boat. Even a 40-foot boat on our smaller level, you're still looking at 80. People don't realize it's 80,000 a year, 90,000 a year just in stuff. Generators break down, engines break down, dockage. You're looking at dockage for 24 to 30,000 a year just at dockage. Insurance for another 15 to 20. You've got maintenance fees, and
fuel.
so
Yeah.
And then that doesn't include your, if you're using the boat more, the more you use it, that drives the price up. But
what about like a yacht like Jerry Jones or Jeff
Jerry
Bezos?
Jones, those are in the millions. We don't deal with those on a day-to-day level, but I know that their budgets are in the $10 to $20 million
I
plus.
I saw you posted a picture with a boat, and it was like $355 million or something.
Oh yeah, I think that.
I don't know if you know whose boat it was, or
I probably do. I've been on a few different
Yeah.
ones. They're fun. Like we've got a few clients that own. We've got several clients. I think I don't know, probably 20 plus clients that own 150-foot plus boats, and they're fun. Like I get to go on them. I don't really
is
do
that
much
like
with
$1 million
those.
a year minimum to maintain
Minimum.
that?
You're looking at like Jerry Jones's yacht. I would assume it's 20. I mean, on a proper. If you're going to do it proper, which you do at that level, you're looking at 20 million minimum. Because each night you dock that thing, you're looking at.
He's so
it could be
rich.
thousands a night just every day, just sitting there, thousands of dollars bleeding.
Our
You've
company,
got captains that are making $300,000. Some of these captains on those boats are $400,000.
it's insane.
I know on one of our clients' boats that's they've got a Fed ship, and the captain on that boat has been with the program for I think 35 years. He makes $600,000 a year. So like even on a career side, like a lot of people don't realize like it's a great career. Like if somebody were looking to turn it six-figure, just even on a minimum level.
Where do you go to
makes $100,000.
captain school?
Go to captain
I
school and
should've
work
done
for a
that.
billionaire.
Heck yeah.
You could easily make $100,000 a year. Even if you're not
Yeah.
looking to achieve millionaire status, like you could all day long in the boating industry come in and make. I mean, we've got most of our guys in house are really well paid, and we've got guys that are making $90,000 a year that have been with us for a few years, and they're close to six figures just in a couple of years, and so it's a good business. It's a great career. I've had a great career out of it. We've created I've made millions of dollars off of it in revenue and in income, and we've created lots of jobs. We've got guys making six figures, and it's proud. Like that's one of my proud things. I'm not, I'm very aware that it could all fall apart in one day, but I also in one, kind of in same sentence, I'm proud that I've been able to build what I've built because I've been able to help my family. I've got guys that are married, they've got kids, they've got spouses that take care of their families, and it's been a fun ride getting to see the different stages of the business, and we're still growing. We're not 100% there, but I'm excited to each year we evolve, and like this year we're going into it. We're really looking to take it to another level. I kind of starting out 2024. A lot of my conversation has been go back to the basics of what got me
That's what I
to
saw.
where I was. Like it's not, like I kind of veered. To be honest, I veered from it a little bit in 2022. It was so easy. Like I went into South Florida, just the new guy in town, had no contacts. The next thing you know, I'm like, holy cow, I'm getting all sorts of deals. And little did I know it was because of COVID. I kind of just caught it right at the right time. So I didn't have to be honest, I stopped selling. I got a little bit comfortable because it was very easy. Even these brokers and yards, everybody was just like you didn't even have to do anything, and stuff was coming your way.
Yeah.
And so 2023, the last part of the year, things started to change, and it was like, oh yeah. Then you could kind of see you had to hustle a little more, and it was a little more competitive. And so this year, I'm trying to catch the trend of the business is you got to compete harder. So, in my eyes, it's like it's a simple. How did we get to where we are today? It's by doing the basics, following up with clients, making sure they're happy. Treating people proper, communicating effectively. Because in my business, it's not to say that it's easy, but it's a simple process. You have a service that they need. You sell that service. You market that service. They like it. You communicate throughout the process. Kind of communicate what's being done, what needs to be done. You communicate clearly what the cost is. Make sure that everything's kind of clear and out front. And then at the end of the project, you follow up and make sure they're happy. And that's kind of been a lot of our successes. We don't we get a lot of people think I got some fancy strategy, and it's just like, even in South Florida, our South Florida growth has just been, we just treat people well. We treat our contractors well. We make sure people are paid proper. We never miss payments. It's a very ethical company. And, a lot of our success just comes back to that Midwest values of I just treat people the way you want to be treated and communicate proper and, make sure that people are getting a good service that they're paying for. And so that's been our strategy. 2024 is just go back to the basics.
You're a little humble about that because I've known you a long time. I've known you before you were Dave with Elite Yacht Services. So you've always had a very honest approach to what you do, and you've always been very personable, and you're more than fair. And I think every time I talk to I've really enjoyed talking to you. I know that sometimes life get crazy, especially with little ones, with my kids. We don't have a chance to connect much, but I got to tell you, every time I talk to you, I'm like, God, just what a great guy, man. I've always rooted for your success. I've literally watched you go from a bucket, right?
Yeah,
I think you had a helper, you had a bucket with soap and brush and all that stuff. I see that go from that to a multi-million-dollar company. I'm sure you're young, you're not even thinking about exiting, but I don't know if you realize you created a company that when it's time to exit, I think you're going to be very pleased. You'll be very happy.
No, and I think that's what, it's been fun. It's been, those are the kind of relationships I look back on, and it's like, it keeps you humble when you realize where you come from, and I think that's been a part of I don't know, I'm not for sure, but I think a lot of my success has been, I'm very grounded. My wife helps me keep, she was with me from the start as well. 2012 we met. So she's kind of seen she doesn't care, and that's what I love about that too, is we've done well, but I'm not I've never been impressed with myself. And I think that's a lot of young guys, a lot of just people just start to I see it all the time. These guys that start making good money, and then
gets to their head.
They get a car, and it's and I think what a lot of my value comes from is I know, I'm in a unique business where I get to work with these guys that are we've got, I think, almost 20 billionaires now that are just in our contact base. I got access to pick up the phone, text them, meet them for lunch. And, recently I had a billionaire client driving down I-60. I don't know how it happened. We were just chatting about his boat. And I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, I'm cruising down to Indy. And I'm like, oh, I'm literally right off the exit. We were literally right by each other. Pulled over, met at Subway, and I'm sitting there. It's just, it's awesome. Funny. I'm sitting there with this guy eating a Subway sandwich, and he got 30,000 plus employees, and huge brand, but even him, he's very low key.
We're coming to wash boats, brother. You don't have to talk. You don't have to say anything else.
I love that because you get to see how they act and what I've always been I've kind of mirrored how some of my mentors have been. I had a guy, David Rolls. Some of these guys I can't say their names, but David Rolls, he died. But he was my first real mentor. Yeah, boat in Chicago. I had a 65 Fairline. Back in 2012 in Chicago, those were a 65 footer was huge.
That's a big boat.
So came into town, I bumped into him, I don't know, we had a weird relationship. So 2012 to 2016 before he passed away, just had a real, could have probably one of the more important relationships I had was just being around him and knowing that he treated me the way he would treat anybody in a boardroom. I'm a cleaning guy, and he would treat me the same way he would treat an executive of his company or a client of his. And that's what I kind of started to learn at a young age, just treat people well. You could have I'm probably one of the more connected guys. And I'm a young guy, I got a lot of connections.
I haven't heard
but that's what I've learned
is
it doesn't matter. They're
just humans.
They're just, it's just the guy that runs it. In some cases, I think I'm happier. I got a better life.
Yeah.
You know, and there's things that I've given, I could probably take the business to a higher level, but I've chosen my family because I remember David, you know, I hope his family doesn't see this, but like I remember one point of his life, you know, we were sitting there and it's just like, he was talking about, you know, how his son would oftentimes, you know, just be really sad, sometimes cry because he was leaving town, thinking that his son would think that he did something wrong to make him leave. Little did he know that he's just going on a business trip, but he was just never around to be near his kids. And I always like, took that. That was before I had kids anyway. My first child came in 2017, but in the back of my mind, I've always been like, there's got to be, if you're going to have kids, you gotta put that at one of your forefront of like, you can achieve all sorts of things in life, but at the end of the life, like I want to be able to have a good relationship with my kids. And so I've been, there's things that I do that probably aren't good for the business. I choose family over business a lot of times, and it seems to work for me. We still grow. We're not probably growing as fast and as wild as we could, but I've chosen that life, and I think it's an important choice. And and that's the thing. I see these guys. I've worked with these billionaires. They're accomplished. They're all like, all crazy stuff that they've done, and it's like that's cool, But they're on the boat in many cases. They got kids don't want to be around them. They're just they're just a little lonely, and they wish they could have that relationship back. And in some cases, you can't go back. And so that's what I've been able to see a lot of, learn from different people that I've been around. And, I think it's helped guide my personal life a little bit, and
you're a dedicated father, because I know the kids are just a big part of your life. We got a weird connection here with David.
No, and so I like how you've done it too. You've always been kid focused.
Well, I don't know if you remember, you offered, actually my oldest, my 23-year-old.
Yeah, Mike.
That's right. That was his first job.
Yeah.
And I said, don't go easy on him.
Because I was still running. I think I was still running and gunning in the day-to-day, washing with them. And
you were bouncing from Wisconsin, I remember at the time. You were literally all up and down the shoreline.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, and you had him washing boats and doing teak out of Burnham.
Yeah, that must have been, I don't even know what year that was. I
said, don't give him special treatment. Don't even pay him a whole lot of money. I said, just pay him what you normally would. And I remember he would get up at like 3:30, 4 o'clock because he would have to be in the city at 6.
Yeah.
And I remember hurting. I'm like, man, my son. But I'm like, it's okay. It's so good for him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I knew your story. And
that's funny. People don't see that. Like, it's funny. I remember those were the days. Like, I think you got to go through, those days will make you a good person, I think. Sometimes the hard ones, but.
So David Rolls, what happened was years ago, we were looking to buy Chicago Rush. I don't know if you remember Arena Football. So Chicago Rush, the face and the head guy there, the face of the organization and the franchise was Mike Dickham. But it was really owned by a handful of plastic surgeons. And so they wanted to sell that franchise. So Acceleration, which I'm a partner at, we came in. It was a perfect fit for us. Buy Arena Football, feeder system, get our name out there, blah, blah, blah. We're going to buy it. And so anyway, one of the guys that was the head of that investment group that want to do this purchase, and they wanted us to be the branding behind it, got us in contact. He goes, listen, we got somebody very important, and he can probably write a check for this whole thing. You know what I'm saying?
Was that him?
It was.
No way.
It was. Because I remember you did a really nice write-up on him.
Yeah, it was right when he died, I think. Yeah, because he passed away pretty fast.
Reading that, I'm like,
he had just retired for bought the new boat.
Yeah.
And that I didn't say that part earlier, but it's like I remember I had just met him when he stepped down from running. It was a big, I think the Chamberlain Group, it was the largest garage door company in the world. Mm-hmm. And like he had, I remember just the stories of like, just different things that would kind of in my mind. And then he passed away, and I'm like, man, just such a short period of life after retirement. I'm like, I'm not gonna, not that I didn't respect that. I totally respect the hustle. Like these guys, like many of my clients have taken their lives to stratospheric levels, which is cool. But you also give up, like in my eyes, I went to like, I like to visit Disney. I like to do this. I like to do that. I got a Charleston trip coming up. I do like to have my personal time. And I also am smart enough to understand that there's things that I won't achieve in this life because I have chosen a little bit of a different path. And so I'm okay with that. And I think as a young person, if you can just kind of acknowledge that you can't have both. You can't. Like to say that you can is a bit of a stretch. Because if you're leaving the office, if you're leaving for work at 5 a.m. and go in the office and not getting home till 6 o'clock at night, explain to me how you're gonna be a good father.
You go the Grant Cardone route. You don't have kids until like 60.
Exactly, and I know people like that. I've got clients that are in their 50s. They've hit it 30s, 40s.
But the cost of that is Now you get to 70, 80, your kids are just graduating high school, so you may not see grandkids.
No, you're right. And that's what I think.
So there's a cost.
Young kids, if they can, not to say that they have to choose that, but I mean, I will say with the younger you start, just like you do the hard thing now, because like it gets because
Yes.
I'm not saying my life is easier, but it's definitely easier than it was. I have a choice to wake up and to do certain things. I still have to, I'm not at that level yet, but I mean, I can choose what I want to do on a certain day.
Yeah.
I may have to make up for
You
it
could throw the
tomorrow.
phone away for a week.
But if I had to push something back till tomorrow, I can do it. It still has to get done, but I'm a little bit flexible. And a lot of that comes back to I started in my early 20s, and just like you do the hard thing now. I learned a lot of dumb lessons. I did a lot of dumb stuff, not on purpose, but just made a lot of bad choices financially, would think this would be a great idea. And so I was able to get kind of my learning curve over before I got married and had kids.
Yeah.
Because by the time I had my first kid, I kind of had a consistent 6-figure income. I was making good. I knew that at the end of the day, I could for sure take this home every year. Yeah. Even if I had to go back and do certain things, like I could have done it. But that's kind of where we're at now. Is like I've got a good lifestyle. I enjoy what I do. There's certain hours where I'm really focused, and I'm learning to this day. Like I'm trying to schedule things differently than I used to, and I'm trying to be really particular on my time. Especially now I got kids, I've got my wife, I've got work. I mean, I'm very possessive of my time, and some people probably think I'm being rude or don't want to meet them, and I'm like, no, I got limited time. And now I see how these successful guys are. They're very limited on time, and you got to choose where that goes. And a lot of my choices go back to family. I've canceled. I've had calls coming in where I'm like, I can't take it because I'm sitting here watching my kid do something, or I'm in a play, or I'm dropping. I've even made the choice, like when I'm on my way to school every morning with my daughter, I don't take phone calls. Like that's my time with my daughter. I don't care who, top client, worst client, doesn't matter. Not taking a phone call. Call you back at 8:00. Because I remember in the beginning of my career, I used to just jump like all 24/7 would think I got to be on call, and I'm like, no, like you can call, like doesn't matter who it is, I'll call you back. Like they'll be there. The problem still is going to be there in an hour, 2 hours, and so that's one thing I would recommend. And as you're growing a career, is just like take care of just enjoy a little time, like take a drive, go to the gym. It doesn't have to be work 24/7. And if it has to be work 24/7, you're not managing your time. Like somebody must not be managing their time proper, because a lot of things could be, if you condense your time proper and you have a set schedule, like you can get a lot done in a certain amount of hours. And because I just see so many young guys they're like 24/7, and I'm like, that's cool, but when you have a kid and wife and other priorities, like what are you gonna do? Like you got to have a bit of balance, or you're not gonna have a wife. Like you're gonna be single, sitting there, and so I've chosen family, and I think that's it's been a lot of my successes. I know how to split my time, and it's been fun to learn different ways to do that. So.
Now, where were you born and raised?
I was born in Maryville, Indiana. I grew up there. Maryville, Indiana. My dad was a truck driver, biggest motivator in my life. When I first started, I remember I was getting ready to go to college. He's like, no, take a risk, start it. You can always go back to college. And
wow.
So my dad was my number one supporter. To this day, he's my guy. Like he...
Now, did they grow up in Indiana, your parents? They
grew up in Michigan. My mom was from South, and so not to take away from anything, we definitely nobody was really, they think the biggest thing that my dad invested in me was his time and his encouragement. To this day, never took a dollar, not a dollar from him, but I would take what he gave me over. Like you can't get a lot of families, like they don't have that in their
family
dynamic. And so my dad was just, to this day, it's like he's just like, go for it, and
were they supportive?
Awesome. When you very supportive, yeah.
Yeah. When you started the business with a bucket and brush.
Oh yeah, he just said, he's like, what's the worst, like
college
there's no
always
worst
be
case
there.
scenario. If it doesn't work, you're young, and even you got, like you started out young, like worst case scenario, it doesn't work.
Yeah, college ain't going nowhere.
There's a million things. That's what's funny when you start young. You can, I'm not going to get too deep into it, but on my first job, 16 years old, was working at Cardinal Fitness. After so I did that for like a year, and then I started working at nighttime. Throughout high school, we were power washing hoods. So I did that up until about 21. And then, even at 21, I was still kind of getting elite going. I tried to start a carpet cleaning company. That didn't do very good. I tried to start a janitorial company. That didn't seem to go well. So I've tried several different things, and it happened to be the boat thing stuck. and I'm glad I did. I stuck with it, but there was a few years, probably 2016, 2017, I was really close to quitting it.
Yeah.
To be honest, I was making okay money, but it was just like, man, for the hassle, and then again, I go back to, for some reason, I just couldn't get over that whole, like, we people in Chicago, it's kind of like the cleaning guy, and I always hated that term. And I'm like, so I'm glad I stuck with it, because like 2019 is when I kind of evolved into that yacht management company. And, it's been fun, because now we've flipped it where it's kind of funny. Now we've got the owner's ear. So I have a lot of people that now are like, oh, can you connect me with this guy? I'm like, no, like I remember, it's like, I remember you, like you treated me like the cleaning guy. I was a cleaning guy, so it's fun to see the revolves kind of like flip to where we've got the owner's ear. Usually the owners are like, well, what do you suggest? And, we're in that role now where clients are like, you guide me, tell me what to do, and I'll do it. And if it makes sense, let's get it done. And, so it's been fun over that's what kind of revived my career was I did a little switch. You don't always have to switch careers. So many people, like, they hop careers. Yeah. Sell insurance. That doesn't work. Okay, try this, try that. Like, no, sometimes you just got to shake it up a little, try something different, build it, just, you got to switch things up. You don't always have to, like, hop careers to get revived and refreshed.
I try to tell people that, especially young guys, you know what I mean? Because
like, just stick with it, man. Like,
shiny stuff pops up all the time, especially with the social media age that we've been raised by, where it's like, oh, maybe I should do Forex, maybe I should do Bitcoin, maybe I should, a lot of guys are talking like social media marketing, maybe I should do this or do that, or any rich person they meet, they just look at it on a surface level perspective of, man, this guy's rich, I should go do what he's doing. Well, they don't look at the 12 years of brushing buckets and all the adversity and things that you've gone through. They just look at, oh, he's rich, he gets to do whatever he wants, he gets to hang out with it. It's like, well, are you willing to go through the 12 years of pain and process and adversity and the highs and the lows that you've had to go through? And that goes for, I tell guys all the time, it's like, listen, you can get rich selling vacuums, trash bags, hedgehogs. You could stick any product or service in there as long as you're willing to stick to it long enough. And obviously there's got to be some product market fit, but like, listen, I mean, if you're passionate about it, you can make some product market fit. You know what I mean?
That's what I had. I think energy. You just bring energy to, like, I would say, just bring energy, like what you do, like you.
I think you're the product too. Like you said in regard to, like, one of my favorite books, and I really emphasized it when I connected with Dave when he told me, he's like, one of the most powerful books is How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. It's like just being good to people. I don't even think you really need. I've read a lot over the last 6 years. Barely graduating high school and getting expelled from high school, where it's like I felt like I needed to. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because like I wanted to have intellectual conversations and not just be the life insurance guy. Because there's that rep with life insurance. Because we're just you
pick up the phone. Yeah, you like, oh, he wants to sell me something.
Yeah, it's just some life insurance guy. And it's like, I had this idea, like, man, I need to have very in-depth intellectual conversations. I need to be able to know the biggest terms, utilize the biggest terms, and persuade people, with this intellectual, like, charisma. And then I came to find out, like, man, my Southern charm was probably the best thing that I could offer to people. It was just like, I'm going to say yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir, and just treat everybody like they're the CEO. Just treat everybody. I heard someone say it was really good, because you hear the treat everybody like how you'd want to be treated. And then this guy, his name's Jason Bratt, and he's in the insurance industry. He's like, do you ever think about treating people how they want to be treated? And the only way you can do that is just ask them, how do you want to be treated? Because sometimes in the North, I'll say yes, ma'am to ladies, and they'll be offended.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, no, I've dealt with
they'll
that.
be 20, 30, 40, and it'll be, don't you man me, do I look old? You know what I mean? And you might actually really offend them. They, in my mind, I'm like, hey, listen, I was raised this way, I'm just being respectful. But you might actually offend them and lose a deal or lose out on a connection because you, yes, sir, the wrong dude or the wrong girl. So, I really obsess over people treatment. I there's a lot of good books I've read over the years that it just all goes back down to, how you treat people can make you a lot of money. So that's all I'm absorbing right now is I'm taking mental notes on you. And how I can help people by learning from you two and seeing just all the value you guys are bringing right now in the midst of, I think we're, 40 something minutes into this.
Yeah, it's just genuine, that's crazy. That's one thing. Like even me, like I don't know this, but a lot of my, like I've heard people say this about me, but I mean, I'm very, I don't care if you're
just a real dude.
Like this guy, like running the top, I deal with some big guys, 130,000 employees, companies. Yes. I could say the name, I can't, but big guys.
I've been talking about employee sizes.
And fun is I walk in, they're like, just make a joke, and they're just kind of like, I don't like, I'm not nervous around them. I just like, dude, you're just the same person. We're all same human. We go down the same roads. You got to much nicer lifestyle than a lot of the majority of Americans. But at the end of the day, a lot of these people, that's what I think getting in the door with some of these people, just treating them like normal people, where you don't ooh and ah over their success. Because they get that all the time. They go to the office and they just love to be like, hey, what's up? Hey, buddy, how you, hey, let's grab Subway. Like I said earlier, driving down the highway. Where do you want to meet? I don't know. There's McDonald's or Subway. We walk into Subway, fighting over who pays the bill. And so that's what, it's just fun, just treating people just normal. And I don't have an agenda. Like I have deep down, I'm here to grow elite. Yeah. But I mean, a lot of times, and I think to say that I wasn't always like this. I used to be very like, need the deal, trying to get this deal because I got freaking bills to pay. The commission breath. And, so once if you can get to that cycle where you're like, okay. Yeah. I can, yes, I need the sale. Because I mean, even to this day, I need business. Yeah. We've got bills to pay, but I'm okay if I don't get the deal. Like right now I'm working on a deal. I really want the deal. He's a billionaire. I'm like, like let's get this. Are there any billionaires you can mention you work with? I can't. There's some. What about the richest? Every single one of them you would know. Like there is one that is worldwide known, and he's the mysterious, we can very mysterious. Boat, I gotta, he's got, we manage his boats. Okay. Multiple. So, we can talk boats. So that's but it's pretty fun. What I will say is, let me talk about the personality traits of some of these guys. Like that is something I've picked up on too is, you get real money. Like you're just, a lot of the conversations change. And even my own personal life, like me and my wife, we kind of, bump heads sometimes. She's like, she wants to like analyze if it's going to cost this much. I'm like, my question is, when can it get done? Like, that's how we are. We're bad. Hey, let's get it done now. It ain't gonna get cheaper. Nothing's gonna change. And then lots of many people they analyze it. And it's probably a bad trait because I'm not a billionaire, but I pick up on when can it be done? And that's one conversation is you realize it's the money is not. It's not about the money. It's like I'm going to the Keys next Friday. This needs to be done. Yes. Can you hit the deadline? Yes, sir. I can. Let's make it happen. Yes. Not. Oh, yes, 25,000. Like, we had a Windows, like, just the craziest thing. It was supposed to be an insurance claim. He's a billionaire, and I'm like, well, we'll wait for the insurance. And it was just like, no, just get with the finance guy, make the payment. Most of these guys, they get their guy. Yeah. And the conversation was when, I need it done by. He gave me a deadline, and I'm like, aye. I'm like, yes, sir. Let's go. And it was tens of like. Most cases, people would have waited for the insurance process to start. Tens of millions or tens of thousands? Tens of thousands. Okay. But it was a very unexpected. Yes. It wasn't even totally was an insurance thing. Yes. From somebody else should have paid for, and he's just like, I don't have don't have the time. Don't have the time. Just get it fixed so I can use it next whenever I needed it for. And so I loved so the conversations are definitely different with these guys, and that's so valuable. And they don't said. And so even myself, I've learned I don't get super frustrated with stuff anymore. I get a litit annoyed. The little stuff, I almost get more annoyed at the little stuff than I do something major. Like recently one of the people were like, they thought it was a big problem. And I kind of was like, okay, click. I'm like, I got bigger stuff to worry about. I'm always like, if somebody didn't die, boat didn't sink. There you go. We're good. Because we got everything else, we got insurance. Okay. Well, that's what, sometimes I'm like, I get a call frantic and I'm like, okay, what is it? And then it's like, the boat broke down. Okay, we're good. Tell the client, not a big deal. It's part of the world. Stuff happens, and so I try to pick up a little bit of how these clients are, and they're very, very reserved. They're calm. They make it. Being that way, having that personality allows you to make good choices. Yes. And focus on the controllables. And so that's what I've because in my business it can become very stressful a lot of times, and it's like you try to learn what the client needs. It's their deadline. The deadline in my business is hit the deadlines and make their lifestyle. Don't put a lot of pressure on them, and you're going to they love you. Because that's what in management, the idea is to take away that pressure. Yes. And just in real estate, insurance. I call it real estate. I call it the poor man's real estate. I myself, in insurance, I'm big on insurance. I got whole life. I got all sorts of different things, and I'm big on. Why didn't you ever get that from me? Yeah, that's a whole other podcast. That's another. We'll get into that. It better not be with FFL. No, it's not. We mention that. We can't mention that. But I could care less. Yeah. That's funny. But yeah, they. Yeah, insurance is such a big thing, and I know, I don't know how, and that's what as I've gotten into the industry, I've noticed like a lot of you can leverage certain things, and insurance is really
solid.
really important, especially just general liability, health insurance, life insurance, all sorts of insurance, and people don't realize like it's an investment. Like I'm going to pay $50,000 a year to make sure that if something happens.
I've got some very wealthy clients that have very large policies with me. And that is a foundational piece to their.
Oh yeah, because there's just so many different strategies that people don't realize that. Well, it's funny how people don't. They always go term. I'm like, invest the difference. I'm like,
no one invests the difference.
Like if you are, good for you, but you're not going to invest the difference.
Yeah,
what are you going to invest it in? The difference of a couple $100 a month.
Yeah, I know.
Did you take any investors or no?
No, I've no investors. So I sometimes wish I did. Like even to this day, I'm always like.
I asked you a while ago.
I will say I do well, but I can't wait. Like I've been tempted to take that big win, but I'm very like nope. I know what I know what I've got kind of, and I'm like I want to just keep growing it. And I don't know, maybe I don't know what my strategy is going to be, but I haven't taken no investors, never borrowed $1 from nobody. Like I slapped credit card. I mean all sorts of stuff to get where I need to be, but I've never taken $1. It's been kind of fun. Is like because a lot of my business is. We're competing against guys that got dad money and grandpa money, and it's fun. I think that's also the mystique of me is like, what do you like? Who is this? And
how's he doing
I've
this?
had a lot of people think I got investors. I'm like, that's nice. You think
it's a compliment.
Like that's
it's like the natty guy that gets like, what steroids are you taking? And he's like, actually none.
I'm like, some days I wish I had. Like some days, there's been times in my career where I'm like, I'd really like some extra money.
Let's call him up.
And I could, and I've had people that want to get in, but I mean, I'm like, what am I gonna? I'm always like, there's got to be something you're gonna do with that money. Because I'm too young. I'm 33.
Yeah.
I like I'm really enjoying what I'm doing right now. So I'm like, and then it becomes like I'm gonna have a ball. Like next thing you know, I go from doing whatever I want.
I guess
to,
they're kind of a boss, an investor if they throw money in. Yeah.
May I please do that? No, like I enjoy it, and we're not. There's things that we don't have. Like we don't drive around brand new. Very. Kind of bootstrap mentality from even to this day. I'm very like I don't over leverage. We don't over leverage. We don't have debt. I don't do things, and there's things that we could do to probably fast forward the process. But I think I've enjoyed the ride, and I've learned more than anything you could. Like I've just learned so much by doing it the way I've done it. And to say that I wouldn't sell off a piece of it one day would be probably a lie. But I don't. My kids are getting to that. I got kids now, and I'm like I would love. To see, like, I know Walmart, I was reading their story recently, like, I think 50 or 60% of the company still sits in the family.
Kids,
and I'm always like, because I see so many guys where they take the big win, which is fun. It's just different strategies. Some guys just want that $100 million payday, shove it in their bank, and good for them. But I would love to be able to
pass it on, legacy.
One of my goals is to wake up one day and we're I think a national brand at some point would be the key.
I think when you're ready.
But it's not there yet, and that might take an investor. But right now, I'm kind of taking Chicago. We need to own South Florida. That's another thing a lot of young people do is they just try to rush everything. And right now we're South Florida. Let's make a great brand, make it a good company, get known, and then get to the point where people in other states are, hey, when are you coming to our market?
Yes.
You got to build that strength of where people are like, okay, you tell me when you're in, and then we'll go. Because like Whole Foods, all these different companies do that. You got cities that are like begging for please bring a Whole Foods here.
Yes.
And they kind of dangle it. You don't have a big enough community, or you don't, there's ways they make that decision. And, so like.
I don't think we ever said this on the podcast, but when you're ready for some strategic partners, I love this business. I always said,
well, it's a cash flow. It's like, I think that's where the biggest thing is like, there's a lot, I could sell boats. Like I get this all the time. People
you
like, go
said that.
Sell boats.
Like
like,
you wanted to start going.
What am I going to do? Sell a boat? Like, so.
We do got to start to wrap up if we're going to get you back. So I just want to give you a minute heads up.
It's 5-10 minutes, I think, max.
Cool.
But I think selling boats, you got a lot bigger payday. There's just a whole different dynamic, whole different business. And I've been smart enough not to tap that because another part of our business is, we haven't talked about this, is loyalty. We got a lot of our businesses, we get walked in the door, like somebody grabs my arm and walks me right into the owner and said, hey, Dave is your guy. And, to have that trust of where these brokers and different companies are literally walking you in the door to a billionaire to take care, like that trust, like we would never want to backstab, like I would never do that. And that's what's made us a really we deal with all the brokers, like all the different, the top in the world to the new guys starting to sell boats. Everybody knows that we're never like, if you were to bring me a client, we're solely on the same page. I would never try to have a back door. Oh, let me introduce this guy to that guy. And, there's so much of that in South Florida where there's a lot of backstabbing, and, to have a brand like ours come in where you can trust us. Like I've got no agenda. We're here to serve you. We're here to make your boating experience easy, make it a fun lifestyle. And, if you want to buy a new boat, call the broker that sold you, work with your, so we don't have like a real agenda. And I think that's where a lot of our competitors, one of our top competitors is owned by a yacht broker. And I'm always like, what a dumb, you gotta, in this business, it's either, you gotta do one thing or the other. You can't, so many companies try to do it all, sell a boat, manage the boat, do this. And they happen, and none of them, they never become great. And so that's what, go back to my mentors, I look at the companies they've built, one brand, there's I can't say that. They've stuck with one thing. Right now, they're the biggest in what they do by a huge amount. They could easily step into it. They've got so many different avenues where they could easily own the market, and they haven't because they've stuck with it. And that's why the guy's worth billions. It's just unbelievable story what they've done from the 1960s all the way till now. They're just the most dominant national brand on what they do. And they could easily tap different markets, and they haven't. And I asked them recently, like, why don't you? And it's just like, that's not what they do. That's not what they're known for. They have the trust for that certain sector. And so, seeing that with different brands that could easily walk in the door to new opportunities, but they don't, that's kind of helped me make my decision where we're a yacht manager. We're kind of the client's representative. We represent the client. We have nothing to sell you. We service your boat. Obviously, we make money doing that, but I don't have a new gadget for you to buy every other month. It's like, we're here to maintain your boat. You want to buy a new one? More money for us? Cool, that's great. But we don't try to have a backdoor little secret of, let me get you in the new boat or try to do this. Because a lot of our competitors do that. They're always got some little agenda where they're trying to make extra money. And, so that's when our brand has really been built on trust, and that loyalty is what's allowing us to walk in the door with so many different clients.
Have you worked on any of the new Lamborghini yachts? Like I've seen Conor McGregor.
No, I haven't.
Which I know there's probably only I think there's only like two.
I think there's a few
now
in South Florida.
Brett David. Yeah, I don't know Brett. I'd like to get to know him. I know he's killing it.
That's the owner of the Lamborghini Miami.
Is he really?
Yeah,
Brett.
Which one was Wes Watson on? The gray one?
He was on the guy. Yeah, that's his.
That has the dog. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a dude that's got
I don't know what business he's in. You would probably know who he is. And then Conor McGregor's got one.
Yeah, he's got one.
I don't think it's stateside.
There's only maybe 10. I don't even know. There's not a lot.
Worldwide.
They're like 4 million. I think they were going to make 63. I think it's 63.
63.
They're going to make 63.
How big are they?
63.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I also love that. Like, they're very niche. And that's where, I love brands like that. As I get older, I like to study different high quality brands. And we try to, we're trying to focus on a certain quality of the market, not to take away from, new money and guys that got a few million. But I'm really focused on just the world's top dogs. Like, man, the big boys.
Yes, I love that.
Because you get in with them, you're in, you're good. Man, you're in with their finance team.
Yeah, you're good.
Their assistant. They're the family off. Like, you've got all these different relationships. That trust is so tight.
Yeah.
And it makes it such a great account. And, that's why I always tell my crew, my team, you do one, you screw this up for me. Somebody's losing a job, because you don't get you get one chance with these guys, and you're easily replaceable at that level.
And you don't have to say, but have you had the opportunity to meet Chicago's greatest athlete ever, who's also big into boating and fishing?
No, I have not. I don't.
We saw his boat. Did we not see his boat?
Jordan is not. I never met him.
Yeah,
he's a big tournament fishing guy, man.
He's a fish. That's a different. Yeah, nothing not the fishing guys. The fishing, there's fishing guys are a total different.
It's a different.
I've never even touched a fishing boat. These $10, $20 million fishing boats.
Yeah, those Vikings, they can run 60, 70 miles an hour. They're 75 footers.
Yeah, well, they got how many engines on?
They'll have crew, and you have a fishing guide on there. Yeah. It's a whole different program.
Yeah.
I would love to get into it, but I just don't know, because I know Jimmy John's founder is big in fishing.
Yeah,
he's got a boat. He's got
a super yacht. I don't know if he's sold that one yet, but I know there's it's interesting.
I heard it's down in it's in Florida right now.
I think Ocean. I know there's some stuff going on. They got all sorts of crazy
Portillo's
stuff.
got his boat down there.
Yeah, it's been fun. I think
Zayd saw his boat. One of our guys saw the Portillo boat.
You have something to do with Portillo's boat.
We did. Yeah, we did. Yeah, he had. I think he had.
I don't want to put him on
He got
blast.
too big.
No, but you know.
Yeah, it's yeah, they're crazy. It's funny, different brands, and it's fun to see different like people work for different people, and but yeah, it's been fun. I enjoy it.
Listen,
So,
your business is a success, David, because honestly, you're
good.
honestly
You're a good
one
man.
of the best guys I know, man. You're honest. There's just a very natural way about you, and you've been the same since you were Dave Redick. And now Dave Redick, owner and founder of Elite Yacht Service. You've been the same guy, man, and I love that about you.
I still feel
seriously.
like the same. It's funny
Yeah.
is like even to this day, I'm like I've had a few people like, oh, you're doing really good. I'm like, still got, I'm like, I'm still here. Like I'm still struggling. I look at my business and I'm like, then I look. If I really take the time to look at it, I'm really proud.
Yeah.
But I think that's what's really helped me out is I'm never happy. Not that I'm not happy, but I'm never. Just don't get. I think if I could make one advice to somebody, just don't ever be impressed with yourself because as fast as it can come together and make that fun lifestyle and do things great for your life, it can really
even
retract
faster.
just as quick. And so like I'm not, maybe one day I get to the level like I'm bulletproof. I'm not I had one mentor. I do really well. I'm not bulletproof yet, and that's kind of where I'm at. I'm like I got a good solid business. We got the consistent cash flow coming in, and I can kind of count on certain numbers, and I know what I'm gonna make for the most part, and what I know how to grow it, and I got all sorts of things that I know how to do. But I also am just as aware that things can retract just as quick, and it's always in the back of my mind, and that's what I think keeps me humble is because I don't want to be one of those guys that one I don't like that like the guys watches and all like for some reason I just haven't been attracted to that.
I'm not a big jewelry guy.
I get these guys. It's funny. You
I
can
don't
always tell. Even in Miami, you see the different. I love it because you'll see a guy come in, and it's like, dude, you made 15 million. Big long clap for you. And then it's funny because I got clients that I know for a fact make $1 million plus a day. You can see it on Forbes and $2 million. You're making millions every hour.
And no chains.
And then that guy walks down the dock and good old boy hops on his boat with a pair of DC shoes or something. And it's like I love, and I think it's all preference. And if I ever did go really big, I guarantee you I'll be that.
You're already really big. You just don't realize it.
Well,
That's the best thing about you. Seriously. I remember a couple of years ago, it was the end of the season.
Because I love the mysteriousness of people that have it, that you just are like.
That's you, my brother.
I have clients that I kind of joke with them. I'm like, give yourself a bone. Let's get you, do something fun. Get a Rolls Royce. They drive around in a 20-year-old Mercedes or something. And I'm like, and so I always joke around. I'm like, pull up, man, show off a little. And they kind of laugh or.
I remember a couple of years ago, I was pulling my boat. I was bringing it back. I don't know if it was the end of the season. I was on 8094, and you guys literally just blew up in South Florida. Next thing you know, I saw you posting all these amazing boats, and I'm like, okay, so David's blowing up. I'm driving, my phone rings. It's you. He's like, hey, and then next thing you know, you pull up. Do you remember that? You pulled up next to me. And then you're like, when I saw your boat, I knew it was your boat. I'm sitting thinking,
that's funny.
We didn't notice my little 30-foot Baja back here.
No,
I
know.
deal with millions of dollars of boats, So,
no, I treat it. Yeah, everybody's the same.
You were so literally,
matter.
you were right next to me. And you were so excited. I'm thinking, where'd you come from?
No, that's what I treat. Even our employees, I treat them all like I'm always like, our wash team is just as important as our upper guys because like if you screw up as a wash team, you affect everybody else's job and. You put us, so I'm always like trying to, I'm smart enough to know like every position is important. And even in all sorts of companies, like lowest guy is just as important as, and I know it sounds cliche, but it really is. Like you need the cleaning guy cleaning a big building or you're going to have a bunch of
dirty
unhappy
buildings.
Clients. And I always hated hearing different things. I never liked the ego status with different people and, cause like it's not right. And I try to have that good old values of like, you don't have to show off and be rude to people. Like, just be nice. And, even if you think, even deep down, if you got a lot more money than they do, that's cool. But you don't have to make them feel bad about themselves because that guy's working just as hard to provide for his family as you are, if not harder, quite frankly, in some cases, because they're physically out there.
Yeah, that labor.
And so, like, I've got friends. I got all sorts of friends in labor unions and all that. And I respect them just as much as
Those are my
anybody.
favorite people.
Those are my favorite people, man.
Those are my favorite people.
Because I work with some of these guys that got their dad built up a mega brand and they took over. I'm like, I'm impressed. They've taken it to another level. Like, there's something to be said about somebody that started right from the bottom, taking it to, in most cases, to be honest, most of these like guys like me will probably never have that stratospheric rise to a billions of dollars a brand, but
Your kids might.
maybe the kids step in and take it to some stratospheric level. But I love, like, even Sam Walton. I read his book. It's just like he took it to a certain level, and his kids and everybody took it from the 90s all the way till now, of just taking it to a global brand. And so that's part of the reason why I want to kind of hold out and selling or doing anything too, is I would love to see my kids come in and wash. I can't imagine just seeing them out there washing and kind of doing the steps to get to a point where they can be in a boss position. And so it'd be fun to see if they do that. I'm not going to hold them to it, but my son, especially my son, I see his energy, and I could see him really do kind of me 2.0, probably a little bit smarter, so he could guide it a little bit better.
Yeah.
So it'd be fun to see if he does that. But he's 2 or 3, so we got time.
Yeah, he's got 19 years figured out.
So I don't know if I can hold on. Yeah, that's where I'm like, do I want to do this in my 40s? Because I get a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
But
as we wrap up, we're 12:40. I know you need to get on the road. I always ask everybody. I get curious. I'm a big movie fanatic. Some people aren't. Some people are. But do you have a favorite movie?
oh man, I'm fuzzy because I've had kids now. My kids, I literally only watch kids movies now.
I was gonna say it's probably been
so it's been a little while. I want to say the Punisher back in the day.
Yeah,
that was like years ago.
I think 87 it came out.
A long time ago. Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah.
I like Dennis Quaid movies. Now that I'm a family guy, he's got some good family movies out. I like Dennis Quaid movies right now.
What's one of his?
I don't even know. You know what?
Yeah. I
don't know the names of them, but they're good.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm kind of a softie. Now, I like UFC.
Love the UFC. We ran into Dana White.
I saw that. I saw those pictures. Mm-hmm. I'm a big fan of the UFC. I love it.
We're trying to set some things up there.
Like, I love that.
Do you do any UFC related boats?
No,
not yet.
No, not yet. Maybe one day.
Yeah.
Maybe McGregor. Yeah, McGregor would be interesting.
That'd be so sweet, dude.
I know he's a character, but I love his brand. Like I love the
phenomenal
story of him
branding
too, just from the bottom to the top.
He's going to be fighting again. We're going to try to take some guys out.
I actually want to go. I would go.
Make sure you hit him up. Let him know. We're trying to go to that fight.
I'd go.
Yeah.
I would
Chandler,
go.
Yeah.
No,
because that's going to be the
Conor
biggest.
McGregor.
Connor.
Because I could see him retiring after that. If he gets beat, he's probably going to be like, okay, we're done. I could see him wrapping it up.
Yes.
Because he's already. If he wins, that would be fun. I don't know.
That would actually be a great connect because you could say, bring your boat down to South Florida, and we'll maintain him for you.
Oh yeah, live the South Florida. I know he lives. I think it's in Spain. His boats are in Spain. He's got like a 130 Sunseeker
there. Remember, he had in Monaco.
I think he's got a house somewhere in Spain, somewhere in Mallorca. I can't say the name,
but he charters when he's out there, so it'd be very easy for him to put on one of those yacht transporters and bring it here because he's in stateside a lot. So.
Yeah, the charter business. There's a lot. A lot of our clients own small boats and charter big stuff. That's a different. We don't get into those.
Do you have any Hawaii connections?
Not at all.
We're going to Hawaii, and I want to charter a yacht there. No, I don't know if it would be
Miami
charter.
all day long. I'll put you. We got all sorts of stuff down there, Miami.
Maybe we start with that to get an idea or something. I want to start doing trips for our guys, our top sales leaders.
No, you give them a little.
And I don't know what we could do. You know what I mean? But I know we could get some money together. And
because even some of these charters, day charters in Miami, you can get for $3,000-$4,000.
Yeah.
Everybody.
When I Google the boats look stupid, I want to get a cooler looking boat.
Oh yeah, you let us know. I'm the connections. I don't say that out loud, but I have. I don't charter. That's another thing we don't do. We don't charter.
Yeah.
Charter's a different. I don't like. I like to deal with the owners. Like when you deal with charter, you got to deal with all these wild people.
I was always funny about my boats.
I'm like,
South Florida's weird because every time I go down there and do business, it's never been like on paper. I rented a penthouse, wasn't on paper. We did it through Airbnb.
Oh yeah.
This Russian guy tells us, "Hey, look, meet me in the back of the building. We're not going to actually do this through Airbnb." So I guess he owned the penthouse.
They do that all. I know it's funny. They get a contact and
and I was like, okay.
South Florida is like very interesting.
Interesting.
Because I come into it from there's ways to do things, and down there it's like I don't know how I don't know how a lot of these people got on they can't even talk to you. Like it's just like, how do you even where did you? How they don't it's like I don't know how they.
It's
some of these guys have been there for decades. I'm like they don't get in trouble. I'm like all right, cool, good for you. They're good workers, but I'm sure a lot of them work hard but it's there's a lot of Russians in that term. I think it's Aventura or Sunny Isles are the huge Russian community.
Yeah.
I don't deal with any Russians. I deal with. I got a few. I have a couple clients where I'm like, I hope you don't. I'm like, I hope it's like I don't know what you do exactly, but something seems weird. I don't know. I don't ask. I mean, it's not my problem.
Take the check.
Clients that are, I don't ask. I
got a few guys where I'm like, man, that's an interesting project. Like, I don't know what you do.
He's got a great story when we have more time about a client that he went out and sold back in the day when he was selling insurance. And like, you know, Chicago, there's some mob ties.
Oh yeah.
And like a good old fashioned Italian family, security at the door, and it's a cool story. But,
Oh, I've run into a couple people in South Florida where I'm like, ooh, I'm like, that doesn't.
You want to be on the good side, on the right side of that deal.
oh my
Yeah.
God, yeah.
Well, you know, that's where kind of I'm at now. I'm like, I got my own, like, now that I'm in the business long, I got a lot of pretty big boy connections. I'm like, I'm like, that's what the mafia. I hate how that mafia. I never understood it, but it's a real.
It's an
I think it's a real.
organization.
I do
It's
think
not
it's
the
a
mafia,
real
it's the
thing still.
organization.
Yeah.
Because like it's there, and I'm always like, man,
Yeah.
they all. I don't
never get smoked
Yeah, I think
out.
it's gotten a little more organized probably than it's not. They're not knocking you off, but
Yeah.
I know that in Chicago, like I've had a few friends like they say there's still a lot of action. I'm like, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's actually a
Boating
resurgence.
communities like that too. A lot of the big stuff as you get into the monster where you got multi-million dollar commissions, like you're very.
You can
I've had friends that say you are getting knocks on the door, like, you know, hey,
Yeah.
ask a commission,
You gotta-
you know,
you gotta
like
do
because
the big
everybody
bucks,
connect.
yeah.
I'm going to
Yeah.
connect you to the family office, and the family office will get you, you know. And there's 5 people in the pot trying to grab a percentage of it, and
You sell a $50 million boat. It's
you're getting a
these
few
guys
million,
do-
I'm sure, you know, and
It's 10%.
Is it 10%?
It's 10%.
10%. Yeah, I'm sure some of that would
Yeah,
get
but how do you
negotiated
get
down.
into being a
Nine.
boat sales?
9.
I think some of them go down to like 7. I know some of the brokerages
Yeah.
I've heard they go down as low as 7.
But you have to exceed.
But that's a lot of it that like if it's a multiple
$100
turn
million boats,
return
$80
client, they'll
million
work with you on a
boat. Yep.
commission.
I wonder if the jet industry is just as lucrative as the boat.
jet industry, their commissions are less unless it's a consignment deal. That's a whole nother.
I know, I've never gotten into
I was gonna say,
jet
do you have
so-
jet plugs?
Not jet. Not really. I mean, our clients.
yeah,
own
these
them,
guys got to have some jets.
But I don't know. We don't get it.
Jet.
I've been on a couple of them. That's always that'll finish it off. That's the way to go.
That'd be
picked up on jet and.
That'd be a cool partner if you
around.
partnered in with like a
I've thought that might there'll be
jet?
some strategies there one day, but I think right now it's just that.
yeah,
stick with
perfect.
what we
that's
do.
that's singular brand.
And then get to the point where you're so strong where you're like they just begging for
People
you.
are begging
you know,
for
where
your
they're just like,
service,
you know
yeah.
what, your brand, you got all these clients, and so that'd be fun
Yeah.
to get in with a jet company one day.
Elite asset managements.
That exactly, because I've been tempted to run into like property management because we're working on these properties that are 10, 20, 30 million dollars, and
Yeah.
you know, I've been tempted to start a little property management company, but I always go back to that focus of like
Yeah.
just stick with what you know,
Yeah,
because
yep.
there's always that greener grass, and then when you get it, you're like, whoops.
yeah, that's a lot of
You don't
grass.
realize, you know, so like we're still learning. I feel like we don't have a full control over what I'm doing right now. So
Yeah.
why would I start? Why run myself into the ground trying to start something else? So,
Absolutely.
but it was good. Yeah, it was good meeting you guys.
Yes.
It's good to see you again, Dave.
Yes, sir, man.
Yeah, absolutely. We got to do this more often, and we'll stay plugged in, Dave. Keep us plugged in. Figure out some things we can do down in Miami.
Yeah, let's do it.
I wanna come down there
Let's
next
grab
month.
lunch soon. I'm around. Let's do it.
Okay.
So, dope.
Thank you for coming in.
No, it's good.
Yes.
Really
Good to see
appreciate
you.
your time. yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, thank you.
So, guys, Dave Redick, you guys can find him at Elite Yacht Services. They've got a South Florida location and obviously still Chicago location.
Chicago, yep.
Yeah. So if you guys have any boating needs, please
How do they
contact.
find you?
Yeah.
It's Elite Yacht USA 1 on Instagram. Yeah, Elite Yacht USA 1, and we're on the internet. You know, you could pull us up on the internet, but
Let's go.
yeah, we're big on Instagram's kind of our main social media site. That's really where a lot of our leads get generated from is Instagram, which is we didn't
Awesome.
get into that really, but
Yeah.
social media has really just blown it off the charts.
Yeah.
because like we got these clients, they got, you know, it could be 1, 2, 3 Jim,
Mm.
and then you don't realize Jim is the guy, like a big, you know,
Yeah, big wig.
multi-millionaire
Yeah.
following you. It's like, oh hey, Jim, oh you got a yacht, you actually have a yacht, you know, because like they're on
Yeah.
there. Like that's what people don't realize. Oh, everybody's online nowadays.
They're
most of
all
them.
on
You know,
there.
they're not gonna have their name obviously on.
Yeah. They're
you
all
know,
on there.
Even grandmas and you know, they got all sorts of people, and you know, it's
Yeah,
funny
they're on
how
there.
people I think it's starting to catch up, but for years people overlooked the Instagram and
Yeah.
social media stuff. But you know, we've a lot of our jobs have come off of the Instagram. And,
Yeah.
and it's like a lot of even employees. I picked up multiple employees from Instagram. And it's like people always ask, "How'd you meet that guy?" I'm like, Instagram. I'm like, it sounds weird, but
Yeah. DM.
like not DM. Like I know that sounds weird, but
Goes down in the DMs.
you know, employees, same thing. You know,
Yeah.
we've had people, hey, do you have a job? And you know, next thing you know, he's my best employee ever. And
Yeah.
you know, we've got Andres is one of them. First employee in South Florida, came from Instagram. It's funny,
Yeah.
just best guy. You know, just
Solid.
top, and still
Let's
with
go.
us 4 years later. So
Let's go. Shout out
it was
to
awesome. It's
Andres.
good to see you guys.
Sure.
Let's go. Shout out another episode. Like, subscribe. If you enjoyed the episode, share it. Go check out Elite Yacht Services, Elite Yacht USA 1
Yep.
on Instagram. Let's go. Peace out, guys.